wireframing in UI and UX design. So actually a wireframe is generally a monochromatic drawing that created in design phase of design thinking process. It provides a blueprint of the page structure, layout information, and functions. This in turn gives a clear idea to the stakeholders about the functioning and visual representation of application UI. So as a designers, you need to understand that wireframing is really important. So you don't have to even the client suggests to you that let's directly go to the designing. Don't do that actually. So if you do your wireframes, even before you do your wireframes, you have to follow the whole UX process. You have to get an understanding and empathize with your users, and you have to do your competitor analysis and everything. And then with all this data, with all these things that you learn from those processes, you apply them in your wireframes. So wireframe is actually, it is not colorful, it is just monochromatic representation about your design. So it is only showing the hierarchy of design, the visual representation, where your items are, where your search bar is, where should you place your text, where should you place your images. So that hierarchy or that representation, we show it in the wireframe, the page structure, layout and information, and basic functions in your design. It is actually like a blueprint, what you can follow as a designer when you are fine-tuning your wireframes and when you are getting feedback to your wireframes from stakeholders such as end users or co-designers, co-developers, team members, or the client you are dealing with. So that gives a clear idea about what your design and how it is functioning, and you can get feedback from your stakeholders. Why do UI and UX designers use wireframes? Number one, it saves time. So if you like, for an example, let's say you don't do your wireframes and you directly move to low fidelity prototype or high fidelity prototype of your design. So when you do this design, you have to send it to your client or users to get their feedback. So if they give feedback, if they don't like the design, they will tell you. So in that case, you have to again do your high fidelity design, which consumes so much of time and effort and money and everything from your client. So in that case, you must do your wireframes. Let's say you first do your wireframes and send it to your client and users and get their feedback. And it will take some time in the beginning, but at the end of the day, when comparing the whole process, it will save time and effort and money. So always do your wireframes first before you start off your designs. Number two, helps gathering feedback. So you can do UX design functional testing using wireframes. So it don't have to be very detailed wireframe or computer generated wireframes, even pen and paper wireframes. You can add some sticky notes to call to action buttons and test it with your users. It is very cheap, and also it won't like you don't have to do much changes, even if they are mentioning some issues with your user flow or some issues with your wireframe. You just have to do a new wireframe, or you can maybe erase the previous wireframe and do the changes accordingly. And number three is creating accurate design. So now when you have the wireframe and you have to get feedback back and forth and fine tune your wireframe, and when you have an accurate or complete wireframe, you can use this as a blueprint to do your other high fidelity design. You can even present it to your co-designers who are responsible for do the certain designs or certain functions of your design, but everyone in the team can use this as a blueprint to move forward with their designs. Okay, we have different wireframe types, three of them actually. Number one is low fidelity wireframes. Then we have mid fidelity, somewhat improved low fidelity wireframes. And finally, we have presentable, which we call high fidelity wireframes. So number one, low fidelity wireframes. They are also known as paper wireframes, which are created roughly, do not contain detailed grids, scales, or pixels, but functions, content, heading, topics are present in a raw form without an accurate structure. So in low fidelity wireframes, you can start off just by having a pencil or pen and paper. You can sketch out your wireframes. It don't have to be very detailed. The only thing that you have to consider is where should you place your functions, contents, main contents, headings, topics, if it is a text-rich website or a mobile application. It don't have to be in accurate structure. So when we do the visual design, when we do the prototyping or visual design, we can play around with the structure and we can change the hierarchy or whatever. But all these details, all these basic things should be there in your low fidelity wireframes. So this is an example for low fidelity wireframe. This is actually the onboarding process of one application. So you can see that the first one, it is actually a pencil, paper and pencil sketch. So first one is level up, then on fire, and then finally summary, and all the call to action. They can share or they can skip, and they can uh, use this carousel to go back and forth between each of these steps. So this is the process that they follow. First one is level up, then showing badges, then streak, then casual, finish screen, and complete the program. So that is the program flow. So they have designed using pencil and paper. Next, we have mid-fidelity wireframes. These types of wireframes can be commonly used for communication with the stakeholders and end users. Mid-fidelity wireframes contain grid, scale, and pixel. Hence, they are more accurate than low-fidelity wireframes. This makes it one of the most used types of wireframes among UI and UX designers. So, mid-fidelity wireframe is somewhat detailed when comparing to low-fidelity wireframes. So it is mostly used because we can use this design. Actually, we can't present this design to our client or end users to get feedback. But in mid-fidelity wireframe like this, we can present it to our users and get their feedback. So it is somewhat organized and give better visual representation when comparing to this. All right, next we have high fidelity wireframes. Low fidelity and mid fidelity wireframes are devoid of feature images and written content. They make an appearance in high fidelity wireframes. With more concrete shape to UI components, this type of wireframes contains the complete blueprint of the design and is the most accurate and almost similar to visual design screens without much of colors. So let's say you start off with a low fidelity wireframe and you get your feedback from your users for your mid-fidelity wireframe and everything. And now you have fine-tuned your design and you have final version. And you can then do high fidelity wireframe. This looks something like this. It don't have images or anything. It use grayscale, but all the placements or the image placements or the text placements, the headings, call to action buttons, and all the cards and all the information architecture is there. We are representing all the things that lack in our previous low fidelity and high fidelity design, but it gives more consistency, and you can present it to your stakeholders, especially the users and as well as the core developers who are doing, or the visual designers who are doing the design based on this wireframe. So everyone can use this as a blueprint to do their designs or do their tasks. These are some wireframing tools you can use. You can use pencil and paper, and this is Figma. You can use Figma, Figma Jam. This is SketchUp, and this is Ballasmith. Or there are other applications such as Pencil as well. So you can use one of these to do your wireframes, presentable wireframes. So always start off with the pencil and paper, so it will be easier. So after you have some idea, you can move on to one of these applications.